Media madness. Here's a good story. When I was a young journalist, I watched 60 Minutes every week, okay? Because it was the best. Good investigative reporting, hard hitting, not a lot of ideology. Then when I advanced in my career, I became friends with Mike Wallace. Some of you know that. He was the guy that influenced me the most he's tough, good interviewer. I knew Don Hewitt, who was the founding producer of 60 Minutes. Both Hewitt and Wallace admired, maybe that word's a little overstated, but they respected, that's a better word, the O'Reilly factor. Because I was tough. And they were right. Now, both were liberal men, but they didn't allow the ideology to drive their reportage. I think that's a fair statement. Okay. But then 60 Minutes took a turn. I'll get to that. I was on there twice, featured twice, okay? Both times they treated me very, very fairly. So keep that in mind. I'm going to play you a clip in a minute. The current executive producer of 60 Minutes, Bill Owens, yesterday quit. He said, quote, "Over the past few months, it has become clear that I would not be allowed to run the show as I always have run it, to make independent decisions based on what was right for 60 Minutes, right for the audience," unquote. So Owens quits. So why? Because CBS Paramount wants to sell to a company called Skydance, which is run by the son of Ellison, the billionaire, okay? And that deal has to be approved by the federal government, the FCC. Enter President Trump, who's suing 60 Minutes for $100 billion. Okay, might be a little much, but that's what he's doing. Trump says that 60 Minutes helped Kamala Harris in violation of election laws in 2024 by editing some of her stuff. And that is a pending lawsuit. Now, keep in mind that in order for Paramount CBS to sell to Skydance, all right, they got to get FCC approval. And if Trump says to Brendan Carr, the head of the FCC, hey, you're not approving it, he's not approving a deal. We're talking billions and billions of dollars here. So the people who own CBS, Paramount, are watching 60 Minutes saying, you're not going to hammer Trump, because 60 Minutes has hammered him. Now, on the Hannity radio program today, I gave Sean a little history. This all began when Leslie Stahl interviewed Donald Trump and refused to acknowledge that the Clinton campaign was behind the phony Russia collusion story. Remember that? And Trump went nuts. And Stahl kept going, there's no evidence, there's no evidence. Yeah, there was plenty of evidence. And then the anti-Trump stuff on 60 Minutes got worse and worse and worse and worse. So, Owens is out. Now, I thought you would be amused by this. So I was on twice. Mike Wallace took me the first time, and it went very well. The executive producer was Jeff Fager, who's a very fair man, I think. Okay? He was very fair to me. Second one was 9 years later. Wow. First one was 2004 with Wallace, and then Nora O'Donnell, September 2013. She began quoting me about my grammar school experience. Roll the tape.
Starting in grade school, I disobey the rules, mock those in authority, and brazenly challenge the accepted wisdom. My behavior back then was not much different from what it is today.
And ain't America great? I was a little thug, and now I'm getting paid millions of dollars for being a big thug.
But you have children. You don't want your children to act like thugs.
Sure I do. I want them to challenge the conventional wisdom. I want them to debate. I want them to be honest people, and I want them to develop a conscience and to speak out about what they feel is right and wrong. Of course I do.
But you weren't challenging conventional wisdom as a kid.
Sure,
you were
I
just
was.
misbehaving.
Well, you can call it misbehaving, and I call it a lively quest for intelligent debate in the third grade with Sister Lorana. Fortunately, she rejected my request and categorized me as a miscreant.
Now, I have to say, I have always respected 60 Minutes. I lament the political nature of the program. And here's something interesting. It began to get political under Barack Obama when Steve Croft, an excellent reporter, became Obama's best friend, Obama's go-to guy. Now, in order to be a president's go-to guy, you got to be a little light on him, okay? And when Croft would interview Obama, he would give him the benefit of the doubt. It wasn't like me interviewing Obama. I was very respectful to President Obama, but I was challenged him. So that's when 60 Minutes kind of veered into liberal Democrat territory, and it has stayed there ever since. But I don't take any joy on this. I think Trump has really dismantled a lot of the left-wing media, and he's probably happy about this.